Before we go to chapter 5, let's review a few things for the artist and artist-songwriter or composer. If you are an artist, remember, you have no contractual share of the royalties produced by the music that you work on, unless you have written part of it yourself. Remember, recoupment means that everything that a record company or publishing company provides for you has to be recouped before you are paid any additional money from your advance. And remember, your advance is a loan against your future royalties. Try not to spend it all in one place. You may not see any money for a long time if the cost of your album still has to be repaid. But you will never know when the cost of that album is not recouped or recouped at all unless you get an audit clause into your contract. If you can remember nothing else from the Freedom Guide of music from music creators and you are an artist, please remember, you as the artist of all the musicians need the audit clause more than any others. Make sure that you secure an audit clause so you can go and have a look at the royalty statements and get a sense of when you can be paid, and take a lawyer and an accountant with you if you can. For the artist-songwriter, remember the controlled composition clause. You will have to be very kind to your fellow artists and songwriters to assure that you are paid at all. But remember that the record company only wants to pay 75% of the statutory amount of royalties that the federal law says has to be paid. And depending on how many people you work with and on whether they are under the control of the company you work with or not, you also will see reduced royalties because of the situation of the controlled composition clause. And if you're not careful, you can be maneuvered into the position of owing the record company for every album sold. You also need an audit clause in your contracts, just so you can begin to get a sense of how the royalties are setting up to be paid out. Now, we go into chapter 5, which to many people seems to be a diversion. But to understand how it is that you can create great value in the music industry and no one feels like they have to pay you, you need to understand something about the real history of business and the real history of work. And if you are in the United States of America, you may really need to get an understanding. This is not going to be pleasant for everyone, but I encourage you, continue through chapter 5 until you understand. The music industry has taken on some bad characteristics from a portion of history we don't like to talk about anymore. We want to pretend these things do not happen, but they do. Hang on.